There comes a time in every life when we must learn the art of release, the letting go of people, of moments, of situations that no longer serve the heart or the soul. It is not a surrender born of weakness, but a courageous act of wisdom. For in holding too tightly, we bind ourselves to pain, to expectation, to a future that may never come. The ancient wisdom of the Stoics teaches us this: control what you can, accept what you cannot, and find peace in the space between. We are often prisoners of attachment, chained by the desire to keep things as they once were, or as we wish them to be. But life's river flows constantly, never stagnant, and resistance only breeds suffering. Psychology reminds us that clinging to what is lost or beyond our reach creates inner turmoil, feeding anxiety and despair. To be free is to understand impermanence, not as loss, but as a natural rhythm of existence. When a person leaves, when a chapter closes, when the situation shifts beyond our control, it is not a defeat but a divine invitation, an invitation to turn inward, to reclaim the sovereignty of our mind and spirit, to cultivate a heart that is flexible yet firm, rooted yet open. In practicing detachment, we do not harden ourselves. Rather, we awaken to deeper compassion, to gratitude for what was, and to hope for what will be. This letting go is not a one-time event but a daily practice, a quiet decision each morning to release the heavy burdens of resentment, fear, and regret. It is a step toward inner peace, a reclaiming of our own narrative rather than allowing the external to dictate our joy or sorrow. So, when the grip tightens, remember, you are not defined by the people who leave or the storms you face. Your strength lies in the calm that follows the letting go, the profound freedom found in acceptance, and the gentle courage to move forward with an open heart. In this, true peace is born. Letting go is an act of wisdom and courage, not weakness, to find peace by accepting what we cannot control. Attachment to people or situations creates suffering. Embracing impermanence leads to freedom. Loss or change is an invitation to turn inward and reclaim control over our own mind and spirit. Letting go is a daily practice of releasing resentment, fear, and regret to nurture inner peace. True strength and peace come from acceptance and moving forward with an open heart. Letting go is often misunderstood as a sign of defeat or weakness, but in truth, it is one of the most profound acts of wisdom and courage a person can undertake. It requires an inner strength to recognize the limits of our control and to accept reality as it is, rather than as we wish it to be. This acceptance is not passive resignation. Rather, it is an active choice to release the heavy burden of resistance and to open ourselves to peace. When we cling to what cannot be changed, whether it be a relationship, a circumstance, or a dream, we set ourselves up for endless frustration and suffering. The courage to let go is the courage to embrace uncertainty and impermanence, understanding that true peace is found not in controlling the external world, but in mastering our internal response to it. The human mind naturally resists change because it craves security and familiarity, but life's nature is constant flux. People come and go, situations evolve, and the future unfolds in ways we cannot predict or dictate. Trying to hold on too tightly is like grasping water. It only slips through our fingers and leaves us feeling emptier. Wisdom teaches us to release this grip, to surrender what we cannot hold, and to redirect our energy toward what lies within our power, our thoughts, our attitudes, our actions. This process of letting go does not mean forgetting or negating the importance of what was lost. It means honoring it without allowing it to imprison us. It means carrying the lessons, the love, and the memories gently, without letting them anchor us in pain or regret. Through letting go, we create space for healing and growth, for new possibilities to emerge. We learn to trust the flow of life, even when the path is unclear, and to believe that peace is not contingent on external circumstances, but arises from our own inner harmony. The courage to let go is also a courageous act of self-respect. It acknowledges that we deserve peace, that our hearts are worthy of calm and clarity. It frees us from the chains of bitterness, resentment, and anger, oceans that only weigh us down and cloud our vision. Instead, we cultivate a spirit of forgiveness and acceptance, starting with ourselves. We understand that holding on to pain does not serve justice or healing. It only prolongs our suffering. In this way, letting go is not a loss, but a gain, an opening of the heart to freedom, resilience, and deeper joy. It is a practice, often difficult and ongoing, but one that leads us toward true inner peace. When we learn to release with grace, we reclaim our power, no longer defined by what we have lost, but by the strength we show in moving forward. This is the quiet victory of the soul, a testament to the enduring human spirit that finds peace not by controlling life's tides, but by learning to sail with them. Attachment to people or situations is one of the most profound sources of suffering in the human experience. From the moment we form bonds or invest emotionally in something external, we expose ourselves to the possibility of loss, change, or disappointment. The deeper the attachment, the more intense the pain when circumstances shift beyond our control. This suffering is not just emotional, but can permeate every aspect of our lives, affecting our mental health, our relationships, and even our physical well-being. Yet, this attachment is so natural that it often goes unquestioned. We assume that holding on tightly is the way to secure happiness, to preserve love, or to maintain a sense of stability. However, what we fail to see is that attachment often binds us more than it frees us. The truth is that attachment creates an illusion of permanence in an impermanent world. We cling to people, situations, or ideas as if they are permanent fixtures in our lives. But life's very nature is change. People evolve, situations transform, and nothing stays exactly the same. When we resist this reality and try to hold on to what was, we set ourselves up for suffering. This resistance creates tension within us between what is and what we wish could be. It breeds frustration, anxiety, and even despair because the world refuses to conform to our desires. In this way, attachment acts like chains, tying us to the past or to unrealistic expectations of the future, preventing us from fully experiencing the present moment. Embracing impermanence, on the other hand, is a radical act of freedom. It is the willingness to acknowledge the transient nature of life and to find peace within that truth. When we accept that people will change, that relationships may end, and that situations will evolve, we free ourselves from the impossible task of control. This acceptance does not mean we become indifferent or uncaring. Rather, it means we learn to love and appreciate without clinging. We savor moments fully, knowing they are fleeting. We allow ourselves to grieve losses without becoming trapped by them. We open our hearts to new experiences without fear of what might be lost. The wisdom of many philosophical and psychological traditions points toward this path. Stoicism teaches that we should focus our energy on what lies within our control, our own thoughts, judgments, and actions, and let go of attachment to external events. Psychology echoes this in mindfulness and acceptance-based approaches, encouraging us to observe life's changes without judgment or resistance. This alignment between ancient wisdom and modern understanding reveals a timeless truth. Freedom and peace are found not by holding on tightly, but by letting go gently. In embracing impermanence, we learn resilience. We become like trees that bend with the wind rather than breaking against the storm. Our capacity to adapt deepens, and our sense of inner security grows, not from external stability, but from a steady, grounded presence within ourselves. This inner stability allows us to face life's inevitable changes with grace, to remain open-hearted despite uncertainty, and to cultivate joy that is not dependent on circumstance. Ultimately, embracing impermanence is an invitation to live fully and authentically. It calls us to be present, to cherish what we have while it lasts, and to trust in the unfolding of life. It is through this acceptance that we experience true freedom, the freedom to love without fear, to move forward without regret, and to find peace in the ever-changing dance of existence. In this freedom, the soul finds its rest, and the heart learns to soar. Loss or change is often felt as a rupture, something harsh that disrupts the fabric of our lives, leaving us disoriented, vulnerable, and uncertain. Yet beneath this surface turmoil lies a profound invitation, the call to turn inward, to reclaim control over our own mind and spirit. When external circumstances shift, when relationships end, dreams dissolve, or familiar realities fade, there is a unique opportunity to awaken to the inner resources we sometimes forget we possess. This process is not about denying the pain or pretending that loss does not affect us deeply. Rather, it is about recognizing that while we cannot always govern what happens to us, we retain the sovereign power over how we respond. In moments of loss, the instinctive reaction might be to grasp tighter, to resist change with all our might, or to sink into despair. But these responses often leave us feeling more powerless, as if we are victims of forces beyond our reach. Turning inward means shifting our focus from the uncontrollable outer world to the realm within, our thoughts, attitudes, values, and choices. It is a deliberate act of reclaiming agency. We come to understand that the mind, while susceptible to external wounds, is also a fortress of strength, capable of resilience, clarity, and peace even amidst chaos. This inward turn is where true freedom begins. By cultivating awareness of our internal state, we can observe emotions and thoughts without becoming overwhelmed or defined by them. We learn to distinguish between what is happening outside and what is happening inside, recognizing that our inner narrative need not be dictated by external loss. This does not mean suppressing grief or avoiding pain, but holding those feelings with compassion and curiosity, allowing them to inform us without controlling us. In doing so, we create a space of calm amid the storm, a sanctuary where the spirit can rest and regenerate. Reclaiming control over our mind and spirit through loss also fosters growth. Adversity often strips away illusions and distractions, revealing what truly matters: our core values, our capacity for love, forgiveness, and hope. It forces us to confront our limitations and fears, and in that confrontation, to build courage and wisdom. We discover reservoirs of strength that we might never have accessed in comfort. This inner work transforms suffering into a teacher, a guide toward deeper self, understanding, and meaning. Moreover, when we embrace this inward journey, we are no longer defined by what we have lost, but by how we rise in response. Loss can either shatter us or shape us. The choice lies in reclaiming our own narrative. We reclaim control by choosing resilience over resignation, by deciding to live with purpose and openness rather than retreating into bitterness or despair. This does not erase the pain, but integrates it into a larger story of growth and renewal. In the final measure, loss and change invite us to become the authors of our own inner world, no longer at the mercy of circumstance, but rooted in a profound, unshakable peace. This peace is not dependent on permanence or certainty, but arises from a deep trust in life's unfolding and in our capacity to meet whatever comes with grace. When we turn inward and reclaim our mind and spirit, we find that even amid loss, we are whole, we are free, and we are enough. This is the quiet strength that transforms loss from an end into a new beginning. Letting go is not a one-time event or a sudden breakthrough. It is a daily practice, an ongoing commitment to release the heavy burdens of resentment, fear, and regret that weigh down the heart and cloud the mind. These emotions, while natural and understandable, become obstacles when they accumulate and take root within us, quietly stealing our joy and peace. Resentment keeps us trapped in the past, tethered to wounds and injustices that continue to echo in our thoughts. Fear binds us to uncertainty and imagined dangers, preventing us from fully engaging with life's present moment. Regret drags us backward, fixating on what could have been, rather than allowing us to move forward. Letting go, therefore, is an act of liberation, a conscious choice each day to loosen the grip of these chains and nurture the fertile ground of inner peace. The practice of letting go begins with awareness. It requires us to honestly observe the emotions that arise within us without judgment or denial. Rather than suppressing resentment, we acknowledge it, recognizing how it has shaped our perceptions and responses. Instead of fleeing from fear, we turn toward it with curiosity, understanding its origins and the stories we tell ourselves that magnify it. Regret is met with acceptance, allowing us to grieve losses or mistakes without becoming ensnared in a cycle of blame or sorrow. This mindful recognition creates space between ourselves and our emotions, revealing that these feelings are temporary visitors, not permanent residents. Once we cultivate this awareness, we can gently begin the process of release. Letting go does not mean forgetting or condoning what caused our pain. It means freeing ourselves from the need to carry the emotional weight forever. It is a compassionate act of self-care that honors our worth and preserves our energy. Through practices such as meditation, journaling, or simply quiet reflection, we untangle ourselves from the narratives of hurt and fear, allowing healing to take root. We remind ourselves that holding on to resentment only prolongs suffering, while forgiveness, whether of others or ourselves, opens the door to peace. Fear, too, loses its power when met with courage and perspective. By repeatedly choosing to face fear, even in small ways, we build resilience and reclaim confidence. We learn that fear often exaggerates threats and dims the possibilities before us. Letting go of fear allows us to step into the unknown with hope rather than hesitation. Similarly, releasing regret shifts our focus from what is lost to what can still be created. It invites us to embrace life's impermanence and the opportunities for growth that emerge from every experience. This daily practice of letting go gradually nurtures a deep and abiding inner peace. It is peace not dependent on external circumstances, but cultivated from within, a peace that remains steady even when life is unpredictable. Over time, the heart softens and the mind clarifies. We become less reactive and more present, able to respond to life with grace and openness rather than defensiveness and resistance. Letting go becomes a habit of the soul, a rhythm that sustains us through joys and trials alike. In the end, letting go is an act of profound freedom. It frees us from the past shadows and the fears of the future, anchoring us in the present moment where true life unfolds. It reminds us that we are not defined by pain or loss, but by our capacity to heal, to forgive, and to love anew. Through this daily practice, we reclaim our power, our peace, and our joy, becoming whole once more. True strength and peace are born not from resistance or denial, but from acceptance, a profound embracing of life as it is in all its complexity, impermanence, and unpredictability. Acceptance does not mean passivity or giving up. Rather, it is the courageous act of acknowledging reality without distortion or avoidance. It is the recognition that some things are beyond our control, and the wisdom to focus our energy on what we can influence, our own mindset, our choices, and our responses. This acceptance frees us from the exhausting struggle against life's inevitable challenges and allows us to find a deep, steady peace that remains unshaken by circumstance. Strength rooted in acceptance is different from brute force or stubbornness. It is a quiet, resilient power that comes from facing reality with honesty and grace. When we accept life's twists and turns, including loss, disappointment, and change, we release the tension that arises from fighting what is. This release is liberating as it opens space for clarity and calm. In letting go of the need to control every outcome or rewrite the past, we conserve our inner energy and create room for healing and growth. This strength is not about suppressing emotions, but about allowing them to flow through us without defining us or dictating our actions. Peace that flows from acceptance is not conditional. It is not dependent on circumstances being perfect or favorable. Instead, it is a deep-rooted tranquility that comes from making peace with impermanence and uncertainty. This peace allows us to be present, to engage with life fully and openly, rather than retreating into fear or resistance. It is a peace that holds space for both joy and sorrow, understanding that both are part of the human experience. When we accept life's realities, we develop a steadiness that helps us navigate storms without losing ourselves. Moving forward with an open heart is the natural companion to acceptance. An open heart means approaching life and others with vulnerability, compassion, and courage. It means allowing ourselves to feel deeply, to connect authentically, and to remain hopeful even when the future is unknown. This openness is not naivete. It is a conscious choice to trust life's unfolding and to respond with kindness rather than fear. By moving forward with an open heart, we keep ourselves receptive to new possibilities, growth, and healing. We become participants in life's flow rather than opponents struggling against it. This path of acceptance and open-heartedness transforms how we experience ourselves and the world. It softens rigid patterns of judgment, blame, and defensiveness, replacing them with empathy, forgiveness, and resilience. We become more grounded in our true nature, less shaken by external events, and more able to hold space for others in their struggles. In this way, strength and peace become not just personal qualities, but forces that ripple outward, touching our relationships and communities. Ultimately, true strength and peace remind us that life's greatest power lies not in controlling what happens to us, but in how we respond. Acceptance grounds us in reality. An open heart propels us forward with hope. Together, they create a foundation for a life that is not only resilient but richly meaningful. In embracing this truth, we find that no matter what life brings, we can stand firm and move forward, not with fear or resistance, but with grace, courage, and love. This is the quiet victory of the Spirit, the place where true peace begins. In the end, the journey of letting go is the pathway to our deepest freedom. It calls us to release the chains of resentment, fear, and regret, and to stand tall in the strength of acceptance. It invites us to turn inward, reclaiming the mastery of our mind and spirit amidst life's storms. When we embrace change not as loss, but as a sacred opportunity to grow, to forgive, and to open our hearts anew, we discover a peace that no circumstance can shake. This peace is the quiet victory of the soul, a testimony that true strength is born not from holding on, but from the courage to let go and move forward with grace. In this surrender, we find ourselves whole, free, and truly alive.